Hey guys, welcome to another Algebra 2 lesson. Today we're going to talk about lesson 12, which is solving by factoring when the coefficient in front is going to be bigger than 1. The absolute value is bigger than 1. So this lesson is going to start you off with a Desmos activity. You're going to have a link here in Shobi. I forgot to include it, but you'll see it when it's in Shobi. And then you'll move the graph around and answer these two questions. But where I want to jump in is over here. So first thing to remember here is that factored form and standard form, they're just inverses. They're opposites of each other. So for example, if my factored form is 2x plus 3 and x plus 4, and I can set that equal to 0, then in standard form, I could just distribute like we did in a previous lesson. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 4 is plus 8x plus 3x plus 12. And then you could simplify the terms in the middle, so you end up with 2x squared plus 11x plus 12, and that is standard form, and then we can set it equal to 0 in order to solve it. So in this lesson we're going to be talking about the a coefficient in the front when it's not 1. So for example, here the a coefficient is 2 and the b coefficient is 11, the c coefficient is 12. So maybe we can go through and just so we can remind ourselves the a coefficient is always the one that has the x squared, so sometimes it's not always the first term. In standard form it is, but a is 2, b is 11, c is 12. So the method that we're going to use here is going to be called the box method. And it's a pretty efficient way to solve by factoring when the first term is not 1. So it works like this. We'll start by putting the first and the third term, first and third term in the first and last box. So first box, last box. So the first term is 2x squared, and then the last term from our original equation is 12. So once you have those terms in the box, we're going to multiply the numbers you put in the box together. So in other words, we're going to do 12x squared times 12, or sorry, not 12x squared. 2x squared times 12 is going to be 24x squared. And so that 24 is going to be a key piece in the next step. So once you have that, you're going to find the two numbers that are going to multiply to give you the numbers you listed in step 2. That number was 24, and add to give you the middle term. So we did our first, back here, our first term, 2 times the last term, 12. We multiplied to get 24. So let me recreate this box. So it's 2x squared was here, and 12 was over here. And so to get the 24, we did a times c, 2 times 12, that was 24. And then we also need to add to 11 because that was the middle term of the equation that we're trying to solve. So we're going to add to get b, which in this case is 11. So like in the previous lesson, you're looking for two numbers that multiply to this, but the this in this case is a times c. And then also add to b. So for example, we could try 12 times 2. That's going to be 24. And then those two numbers added together are going to be 14. So that won't work. So what else can you do that's going to give you 24 and also add to 11? You can try 8 times 3, that's 24, and then 8 plus 3 is going to be 11. So those two factors are going to work. And so once you find those two numbers that do work to give you both things, we're going to put them into either box. It doesn't matter whether the 8 goes here or here. We're going to put the 8 into here, and we're going to put an x after it. And then we're going to put the 3 into this box, again with an x after it. To fill in these blanks, it says the numbers that do work. We found the numbers that did work were 8 and 3. So once you do that, you can move on to step 4. So if step 4 says factor the numbers in each row and each column, and then what you have left is the correct binomials to break that original expression down. So in other words, we can take each row, we'll take 2x squared and 8x. What factors do they have in common? They both share an x. And then between 2 and 8, what's the biggest number that multiplies both of them? That's going to be 2. Same thing with the second row. 3x and 12, there's no x here, so they don't share that. But between 3 and 12, the biggest thing that multiplies them, the biggest factor is 3. So once you have that, you know that one of your binomials is going to be 2x plus 3. And then to get the other one, we'll do the same thing for the columns. So 2x squared, 3x, they both share an x. And then 2 and 3 doesn't have anything that multiplies them besides 1. You don't have to, but you can put a 1 there as well. And then finally 8x and 12, their biggest factor is 4. And so the other factor is going to be x plus 4. And so now we're at the zero product property. So we can take each of these, set them equal to 0 in order to solve for both solutions. So we'll take this one first. 2x plus 3 equal to 0. Subtract 3, which is 2x equal to negative 3. Divide by 2, so x is negative 3 over 2. That's one of the solutions to that equation. And then the other one is x plus 4 equal to 0. We know we're going to get negative 4 here. Subtract 4 from both sides, so x is equal to negative 4. So both the two solutions are going to be negative 3 over 2, which is negative 1.5 and negative 4. Alright, let's talk about one more example, kind of laid out in one place. So 6x squared plus 7x minus 3. What will make each x, what x values would make it 0? So we'll start by making the box. Let's put the first term, 6x squared, in the first box. And then 3, be careful there because it's negative 3, will go into the last box. And then from here we're going to set up a chart. In the guided practice I did it below so you can kind of see the structure as you're trying this on your own. So we're looking for what's going to multiply to these two numbers. In other words, 6 times negative 3, what's going to multiply to negative 18. And at the same time, those two numbers have to also add to the middle term. The middle term is 7. So that's kind of always going to be the case. Multiply whenever the coefficient in the front is not 1. Multiply to first coefficient times the last and add to the middle. Negative 18 and 7. So negative 18, for example, could be one of the terms would have to be negative here. So we can try 9 times negative 2. 9 times negative 2 is going to be positive negative 18. that's what we're expecting. But then if you do 9 minus 2, that's 7. And that would actually work. So that means the factors that give me negative 18 and 7 are going to be 9 and negative 2. So I'm going to put the 9x over here. And I'm going to put the 2, again it has to be negative 2, in the other box. And then we're going to factor the rows and factor the columns. So 6x squared and 9x, they both share an x. And then the number that divides both 6 and 9, the biggest number that divides both 6 and 9 is 3. I have negative 2 and negative 3. They both have a negative, so we can factor the negative out. And then 2 and 3 are only, their only factor is 1. So one of my binomials is going to be 3x minus 1. And then I'll do the same thing for the columns. 6x squared and 2x both share an x. Their biggest factor between 6 and negative 2 is 2. 9x and negative 3, their biggest factor is positive 3. So the other factor is going to be 2x plus 3, set that equal to 0. And then, like we have some experience doing now, solve each side for 0. So 3x minus 1 equal to 0. Add 1. Divide by 3. So x is going to be 1/3. And then the other binomial, 2x plus 3, set that equal to 0, minus 3, divide by 2. So the other answer is going to be negative 3/2. So looking at the graph, we'd expect the parabola to cross at 1/3 and negative 3/2, which is negative 1.5. Alright, so you guys can kind of use that same structure to try this one. And then there's 6 practice problems on the next page. There's more examples out there on the internet. If you need help or any kind of suggestions, feel free to hop on office hours and we'll discuss it further. Thank you.